I think Britain really saw its revolution under Blair, because he was surrounded by all of these sort of human rights lawyers that decided to fundamentally change the British Constitution, which meant that we were beholden and we became signatories to all these treaties and organizations, that, you know, the Supreme Court, all of these things, all of these kind of things that basically became like a lattice over the actual potency of the British public's voice. But I think that there comes a point where you cross the line into like genuine derangement, and I think that stems from the fact that like you're too obsessed with things outside of your own locus of control. Or so we're agreeing a price with energy companies, that no matter how, like we will buy the energy that they produce from these renewable sources for a market price that is significantly above the average that we would pay for fossil fuel energies. So basically, we are subsidizing that gap. So this is why our energy prices are artificially raised. This is the thing, like these politicians amaze me because they have like no moral,
none. They might
like they just have no more like convictions. If you want them to change their opinions, it's just like, how much are you willing to pay for it?
Yeah, I mean, some people think Elon bought the presidency.
I think they think. I think people that say that don't realize how big Trump's ego is. Like Elon is like, in for all intents and purposes, like a Johnny come lately.
Yeah.
He just gave him a lot of money and a bit of press, but it's like, you know, even Zuckerberg's jumped on the hype. What's like the other one?
Zuckerberg got based.
What? Well, yeah. What's the other one?
Started doing MMA and suddenly started having very different opinions.
What's the other one? Amazon.
Bezos.
And his like ludicrous girlfriend. I mean, she's hilarious. She has more plastic in her than Tupperware. It's actually so funny.
It amazes me that like that's what like, Bezos could probably have any woman on the planet and he chooses the plastic one.
Sorry, when you say any woman, do you mean any woman that truly desires him, or just any woman that's willing to let him pay for a bit of that ass?
No, I mean that like if he really genuinely wanted to pursue probably almost any woman to like date.
Yeah, but I
get that.
But they don't genuinely desire him. They're willing to like let him pay their price.
I don't know. I reckon that he's got a vibe that I know women would be into. That
vibe is very much. I'm not familiar with that vibe. Tell me.
Bald, but he's shredded.
Because he's
worth a lot of money.
Well, he became. So it's in his Lauren Sanchez's credit. He became that way after he dated her because she's like clearly obsessed with how she looks. I mean, she gets like Botox every other day. But like when he just got out of his marriage, that guy,
There's something that hundreds of billions of dollars at your disposal can do for you.
I've heard it's a bit of an aphrodisiac.
Yeah,
I've heard.
Funny that.
Funny how that works. A little bit of money.
Yeah,
and to the tune of a few billion.
Well, I think it's more than just the money itself. I think it's the what it symbolizes. And what it's like.
I don't know what I'd do with that money. Like every time people ask me, like, what would you do if you won the lottery? I'm like, I'd probably give it to my dad to manage for me. It's like, what? Can you imagine? I'm like, I'd be so bored. Like, yeah, you can do a bit of shopping, but really, there's nothing that I feel like. Most of the things that I value are experiences, and they come with time. Like experiences come with age, and the people you meet, and the things that you do. I mean, billions or even millions. I'm like, I'll just get bored after a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, but like they've shown that like money buys happiness up to
a point.
Like it's like 50, 60 grand a year.
Yeah.
And then at that point it doesn't make any material difference because as the poet Biggie once said, more money, more problems.
Yeah, exactly. Poet laureate. Yeah. The one known for his big booty hose.
That's the one.
Different area codes. Or is that ludicrous?
No, that's ludicrous.
That's it?
Both form and function.
I mean,
ludicrous.
Why does it need to have function? All it matters is the form. He can make it function. That's what he's known for, Mr. Functionality.
Anyway, Trump has just become inaugurated. Yes, we are. We are now recorded. I have all of that. I literally have all of that. I'll decide I'd get blackmail material.
You can't do this to me. We just talked about hoes in different area codes. I thought that was a cue to mute the microphone.
No, that was a cue to that's the intro.
No.
No, it's fine. I'll cut that. Don't worry.
I don't know. I mean, that's hoes in different area codes. That could be like a great trailer.
Yeah, that's what we'll use for the opening line. That'll keep you
filled. My boss.
Yeah.
Fire Esther today over this.
Yeah, I brought her along for a serious discussion.
Yeah.
And we...
Which hose exactly?
Oh, different. Doesn't quite work in the UK. Hose and different postcodes.
I mean, it wasn't better, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, Trump is currently being inaugurated as president, 47th, haven't been 45th president of the United States. And people seem to be absolutely losing their fucking mind again. So we're back to he's a fascist. It's the end of democracy. Then there's all the British politicians being like, oh, he's an idiot. Except for David Lammy, because he now wined and dined him.
Exactly, another thing. Oh, that guy is going to get... Anyway, let's not go into it. But
why do you think people are losing their minds so much? Like, what is it? Like, we've been through this already. Like, we know... Okay, you know, he didn't refuse to leave the White House, even after he, like... thought that possibly that it was rigged, and arguments could be made, mail-in voting, etc. But like he still left.
Yeah,
you know, even if he believed
he'd come back, he'd be like, just watch me.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think at that point he was like, well, fuck this, I'm coming back. But I don't think he likes to lose things.
Yeah, he doesn't, and I think he came back in a much more spectacular fashion. Why is everyone losing their minds over Trump? Because I don't think. I mean, look, the thing is. You can have legitimate policy concerns. You can talk about, you know, abortion, women's rights, all of those sorts of things. And I'm not going to refute that because that's generally based on people's, you know, personal political views. And that's fine. That's perfectly legitimate. It's like having like reasonable objections to any other politicians that takes his policy views on things. But then there's the Trump as a person, which, you know, people, particularly for his character, should I say defects, feel very strongly about. The whole grab him by the cat and all a bunch of stuff, which is fine, I guess. Like you can be opposed to that. I don't really have a problem. But I think that there comes a point where you cross the line into like genuine derangement. And I think that stems from the fact that like you're too obsessed with things outside of your own locus of control. And this is what I don't get. Like as someone who works like sort of within the political broadcasting sphere, who covers politics and stuff like that, I go home and sleep at night thinking of myself and my family and how to better my own life. These people go home thinking like, orange man bad. Like, do you not go on holiday? Do you not drink with your friends? Do you not go to the gym? Like, what else is there about your life other than getting so worked up by this man that they hear his name and it's just, they just turn red in the face? You know, you have people wanting to boycott Oscar de la Renta because he dressed the first lady, even though that brand literally has a reputation of dressing first ladies. That's how it built its popularity. So it's just, I think on a fundamental level, outside of sort of genuine policy concerns, which we all have, of course, get a life. Do something better with yourself. Stop obsessing over someone who literally couldn't care less about you.
It's really the policy they seem to actually like disagree with.
I don't think that even like a lot of the people that I've heard they're not very cognizant of what the policy proposals are. Like I just saw on Sky News breaking news: Trump administration declares that there's only two genders, male and female. Are we stupid? How much money has been spent on public education for people not to come up with that basic understanding of biology?
Not enough. Apparently.
It's just, again, like people be concerned with the fact that like sardines are 50p when 3 years ago they were 10p a tin. Be concerned about the price of pasta. Be concerned about things that actually impact your life. Like these people that are complaining, if their lives get better materially, economically better in the next 3 years, they're not going to say that. Because why would they say that? They're going to be praising the orange man, and we know the orange man is always bad. But it's just, I'm looking at the material impact of these sorts of policy changes or political changes in my life, not whether like I like the person or I don't really care. I don't have to have dinner with them.
Yeah. I mean, I have serious moral objections to Keir Starmer, and yet I can still manage to No, I just really the guy is a damn squib of a politician. He has no morals. He has less principles than Tony Blair. He has.
That thinks something.
He cares about nothing.
Ooh, I think he cares. I think he's more of a lawyer than a politician. I think if Diane Abbott, someone like Diane Abbott, who's been in politics for a long time, regardless of what we think about her politics, if she can roast you by saying you have no feel for politics, and literally everyone in the country can say, "Yep, she's right on the money," you have a big problem.
Yeah, like. Also, he got less votes than Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah.
Both.
And like 3 times the... I mean, it's incredible. 3 times the number of MPs. That's the perversion of our first past the post system. But Keir Starmer has to make a choice. And I think he already has. you either have to choose whether you're going to be a prime minister or you're going to be a lawyer. He's always existed within the framework of having. Okay, here's the thing. Keir Starmer is part of this cohort of the sort of human rights industrial complex, where instead of Parliament being sovereign, they choose to latch themselves on to these treaties that the UK has signed on to, that when they do become part of the political fold, they make it so that Westminster is constrained by these international treaties that we have signed up to, which actually, in the face of any act of Parliament, should be a secondary matter or obsolete, because Parliament is sovereign, not, a court in Brussels or what else, Strasbourg or whatever. But Keir Starmer doesn't believe that. He's such a disciple of this type of thinking and orthodoxy that, for example, you can have a rapist remain in the UK, a foreign rapist remain in the UK, because according to the international human rights, if he goes to his country, he will be at risk of, being shunned by his neighbors for raping. Who would have thought that? But you know what I mean? His thought process is not what's best for the British people, or God forbid, what the British people have actually voted for. His is, how can we use the law to manipulate the political foundations of this country? And that's going to come back to bite him. And people are seeing that more and more. Look at how quickly he fast-tracked those people at the Southport riots. How, the hundreds of people, he just fast-tracked them through the courts. I was like, I thought prisons had no spaces. You're literally releasing pedophiles and murderers early to make room for people who made rude posts on Facebook.
I did hear that many of those early released people are the people that they're now deporting in what they're claiming to be record numbers, but which might
except
be true.
They get a human rights lawyer that's going to claim that they might not get their diabetes medication back where they're from. I kid you not, this is the kind of stuff we're hearing.
Yeah, no, it's really weirdly just, and I think what you said about him not respecting the international, or respecting the international agreements and frameworks and treaties over Westminster is like it was summed up in that clip, and I'm pretty sure this was pre-election. When Emily Maitlis asked him, do you prefer Davos or Westminster? And he's like, Davos.
Yeah.
And he's like,
shamelessly.
Yeah, but I don't even understand what sort of apparently savvy political operator thinks that's the right answer. Even if you think, because most of them probably do prefer Davos, the food's better.
Because they're relevant. No, but that's the thing.
And you can ski outside,
Exactly. And people they're like, how politics is Hollywood for ugly people? That's literally it. Because if you think about it, these are just to be blunt, these are nerds that have been to sort of law school, done the whole barrister stuff, but they're not politically relevant. What this sort of industrial complex we're seeing with these human rights organizations and treaties and stuff like that, it's made these people, these pen pushers, relevant. It's given them political power without the accountability. And that's rooted in their worldview. Their worldview is that Parliament is sovereign because the people are sovereign, and the power the people give to the politicians and Parliament is what should rule us. They think, no, you have to have this extra layer of technocrats that can, read between the lines and really educate the poor, dumb public. His worldview is exactly the same as Peter Mandelson, which is why he wisely made him our US ambassador, who ironically hasn't been invited to Trump's inauguration because...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, people are like, Nigel Farage has been invited, but Keir Starmer hasn't. I'm like, hold on, no. Maybe Keir Starmer is busy. Xi Jinping is not going, so fine. Our ambassador's not there.
I don't think there's a British, there was a big fight going on Twitter this week about I think Mike Graham was trying to claim that there've been 4 British prime ministers attended inaugurations. It seems like none of them ever have.
None of them have. No, it's kind of like the coronation. So Biden didn't attend the king's coronation. It's kind of like similar. I mean, it's a lot rarer, but it's kind of like...
Yeah, it was a long time ago we had a printed another one.
Well, the last coronation was 2 years ago. So.
No, I mean before that.
Before that, exactly. It was, 70 years. But that's not unusual, but it's usually ambassadors, that's literally your only job. Your only job is to represent your country's interests.
And he hasn't been invited.
But the thing is...
Is he there?
Did you say is he dead?
No, is he there?
Oh, no, he's not there. And he's not dead, certainly.
No, I don't think he's dead.
But it's he chose someone whose worldview is... the Trump staffers have no time for the Mandelsons of the world. But bear in mind, I don't know why he chose someone who had to resign from cabinet twice. One of which was because he got someone a British passport through his dodgy links. I mean, that's kind of like Banana Republic shit.
Yeah. Is it true that to resign twice in the space of 3 years?
Yeah, from cabinet. Yeah, he's a shameless political operator.
Oh, there's some lovely photos here of him with Mr.
Did you do
Epstein.
I knew you were going to say that.
Let's see what we've got. There he is with a birthday cake.
Yeah, it's your birthday.
In his flat, on his boat.
Like it's your birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, questionable company he keeps.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, it's but they all choose the same, like, people with the same think, and they're all in this. And I was talking to Suze Kempner, who is like probably the furthest from your political views that you could find on the last episode, or what will be the next episode, actually, because I'll probably put this out first because inauguration things. She was basically saying the same thing, that we discussed how they're literally in, like, they talk about people being in their like social media bubbles and how, you know, it's dangerous because, you know, they get their group think and they only hear what one side says, and it's like, those politicians are in the most impenetrable bubble of anyone on the planet because they literally have no contact with real people.
Well, they don't have any real experience. I mean, I think I'm the person that painstakingly did this, but just so everyone else doesn't, go through the cabinet, go through the people in the cabinet. You can find a list of them.
Is your piece somewhere? I'll find it while you're talking.
90% of them went to either study PPE at Oxford, or English, or law at Cambridge, or history at Cambridge. That's 90% of them. Many of them were special advisors in their 20s to leading politicians. Now, in our 20s, we're trying to learn how to not burn pasta. We don't have enough subject matter expertise on anything to be a special advisor to anyone, let alone people making key decisions for this country. Someone like David Lammy had 3 years, count them, 3 years of actual work experience before he dedicated himself to a life in politics by getting elected in the year 2000. Yvette Cooper studied PP at Oxford, became a special advisor at 23 to Harriet Harman. Ed Miliband became a special advisor at 27, also studied PP at Oxford. You have literally this list of, that's the entirety of his cabinet. We're not even going to talk about the Chancellor of the Exchequer, whose career history is
Rachel from accounts.
I'm not going to go there because apparently that's like...
No, she was, oh, really? Okay. Have fun suing me for that joke.
Apparently, the person who's actually running this country's finances, not a corner shop, mind you.
No, she was so what I understand is that she was a junior analyst for Japan.
Japanese embassy, the Japanese Bank of Japan, I think. That was for 1 year. That was 1 year, like.
And then she worked at the Bank of England in roles undisclosed.
Yes, but apparently she was an economist. Then, like, you don't just walk into an economist role. Like, I know economists. That's not. You have to have like.
But economist, right? But having spoken to one of like the world's leading, Steve Keen, Dr. Steve Keen. Do you know his word?
No.
Okay, really quite a famous economist.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, modern economists don't understand the world or the economy. No. It's not a study of finance, because that's finance, you know.
The study of behavior.
Yeah, exactly. And that gives you absolutely zero qualifications to literally have the budget for the entire country.
I'm just saying.
Makes me so angry.
Well, anyway. But these are the people, and people are like, oh, you know, Keir Starmer has real world experience. Yeah, in a bubble of a bunch of human rights lawyers that are more interested with undermining their own country's political systems and constitutions than anything else. I mean, really
fair. I would say, actually, to be fair to him, he has the most experience of all of them, because he's actually
horrifying.
Being head of the Crown Prosecution Service means you've actually done a real job.
No, of course, yeah. I mean, he has the most experience, but in the sense that, like, he's just another pen pusher, encouraging people with no like real world experience to just keep doing what they're doing. I mean, really, when I think Britain really saw its revolution under Blair, because he was surrounded by all of these sort of human rights lawyers that decided to fundamentally change the British Constitution, which meant that we were beholden and we became signatories to all these treaties and organizations that, you know, in the Supreme Court, all of these things, all of these kind of things that basically became like a lattice over the actual potency of the British public's voice. So it's no longer Parliament is sovereign and all you have to do is elect your MP and keep a track of their record and all of that. You're now beholden to some technicality in a treaty that's being looked over by some busybody human rights lawyer that wouldn't be relevant any other way. This is why you get these frustrating stories. Like, I'm sorry, someone can come across on a boat. We don't know where the hell they're from. we don't know what their actual name is, come here, be given a hotel. Meanwhile, I'm seeing actual British homeless people like on the platforms of Paddington Station on a Friday night, at least a dozen of them.
Yeah.
Like that's how these things happen. We talk about it in the context of, oh, this is an outrage, you know, our politicians are useless. No, this is the system that enables that. That is why. The voice of the people has become so diluted. And this is not like, oh, this is a far-right populist thing. No, it's also a very much a left-wing thing as well. Because people on the left are thinking, I'm sorry, we're supposed to be the voice of the working class, and yet we can't provide for them because we have to deal with all these fucking people with nothing better to do, trying to just dot our I's and cross our T's and make us follow these made-up rules by people who don't care about what happens in Britain. Fundamentally. That's why Keir Starmer prefers to be in Davos. He should be sent there. Go and live in Davos, make rules for the devotions.
Could someone just get them all in a room and just sort of like lock it?
Well, no, someone needs to get them. Like, I mean,
while they're at Davos, I mean, just like someone put them in a conference room and just like
lock it, yeah,
lock it and lose the key.
Eat the rich.
Yeah.
You are all rich, but not
yeah.
absolutely rich. I think there has to be a way to make them less relevant. And also, we need like more talent in politics. Genuinely, we need to invest a lot more in politicians. We need to pay them a hell of a lot more. We need to somehow fundamentally change the party system and how they recruit people. I would rather see my plumber and my electrician and like my local corner shop owner and people with actual real world experience in politics than these like I'm sorry, the idea that someone who being a special advisor at 20 something and has basically shadowed unionists or Labour politicians makes them qualified to be this country's home secretary is horrifying to me. It's not just laughable, it's horrifying.
It's like I'm just looking up the breakdown of UK MPs by profession.
Just go to the cabinet. Just type in British cabinet.
No, because I'm trying to find a stat that I saw years ago.
Most of them are lawyers.
It was about like how many of them were in 1979. 44.9% of MPs came from professional occupations. 15.8% had manual labour backgrounds. By 2015, the proportion of MPs with professional backgrounds decreased to 31%, and those from manual labour backgrounds declined to 3%. That's what I was looking for. So it's and now they're all economists or PPE graduates.
Yeah.
It's
and they all recite John Locke while they're contemplating what to set.
No, but
economic policy.
The pay them more is a little controversial because they're already on what, 85 grand.
Well, but the thing is,
I endorse paying them a little bit more. But you know the other thing you have to. But you know the other thing you have to fucking do. Stop them taking fucking second jobs.
But that's why I say pay them a lot more, because I don't want them paying. And also, okay, so look, it's all about incentives.
Right, but like it's about like the median wage in the United Kingdom is about 30.
That's not their fault. Well, it kind of is. But like,
yeah,
okay, but look at
you could peg it to the median wage. That would be funny.
The thing is, the median wage makes it look like the median worker is just as productive. Like, it's all relative. I think for me, the argument is more about incentive structures and what you want to get out of people. If you're about to have eye surgery and you found out that your eye surgeon was paid £10 an hour,
he
would stick a bottle cork in your eye.
No, I understand.
Like,
yeah.
Can you really complain? In Singapore, for example, they pay their premier, I think, $1 or $2 million or something like that. They pay them really high. Like, I mean, I think the average person, like politician in Singapore, makes like $500,000, something like that. But these are not. They're not necessarily just career politicians. They're people that come from they're really productive members in their own industries and own fields. And they have an incentive to come into politics and stay in politics because they have that experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, you really get what you pay for in all aspects of life, but particularly in politics. You have people setting like taxes, for example, that affect 68 million people. And yet somehow you're like, oh, but it must reflect the average wage. Well, we're not talking about the fact that actually the UK has like a skilled labor shortage. This is what we assume. We assume like, oh, the average person doesn't make a lot of money. Yeah, because the average person is not fucking talented. Guess what? Like, we have like, no, but seriously, and it's not necessarily from this generation. It's from older generations. You had people that could work as retail workers, for example, in a shop for like 40, 50 years, knowing that at the end of their career, they have a cushy state pension to look forward to. No one told them that the consistency of that is obviously dependent on whether we're having enough kids, whether there's enough young people that are just as productive to be able to provide you with that lifestyle. It's contingent on a lot of things. Like, you didn't really have that many people being like, oh yeah, okay, if you had access to like, grammar schools or whatever, you could become a doctor or whatever, that's fine. But we really have skilled labor shortage in this country that no one is addressing. This is why Rishi Sunak was like, oh yeah, make all sixth formers study maths. It sounded ridiculous, but it's actually to address a fundamental problem. We're not as gifted like generations above us as like a lot of Chinese workers, for example, who are very dynamic, who are very like, they don't have to have 20 degrees from Oxford to be more productive than British people. Americans, for example, are far more productive than we are for the same hours of work worked.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like Americans take no holiday.
Well, yeah, they
get screwed over a lot. I would.
Value of the economic output. So it's not necessarily just sitting behind a computer. We're looking at the ultimate. Like, this is why I don't believe, like, just because you sit behind a computer, you work, or you get like 2 days of holiday a year, you're more productive. That's not how it works. This is why the Italians and the French take so many holidays, and yet the economies haven't crumbled. The Italians, their debt to GDP ratio is about 140% of their actual GDP, and yet they can borrow cheaper than we can in Britain, and yet we've had one of the lowest debt to GDP ratios in the G7 for decades. It's about the economic output, how productive you are as a worker. This is why it's all relative.
Yeah, but British productivity has been stalling.
Well, we don't have industry.
That's also true.
We don't have industry, and we import everything. We don't have any people that can we don't have that many people that can do things with their hands. Like, I'm sorry to talk about a trope. You have like middle-aged black men in South London that are trying to become drill rappers instead of becoming electricians.
But like
that's what we're talking about here.
But I honestly think that that's because for an entire generation of people, the options were university or you become a
tradesman.
Yeah. And but the tradesman bit wasn't even. It was like, I don't remember, and maybe it was just the school I went to, but I don't remember any discussion of that being an option whatsoever.
Me neither.
Okay, unless you were the idiot of the class.
Yeah.
Right, and that was like 2 people. They decided that, okay, yeah, maybe you need to go to do an apprenticeship. It's an insane thing that and it's probably because around the time that started was Blair saying 50% need to go to university. All the builders in the world that we needed were, completely ridiculous. But like all the builders in the world were being imported from Poland.
Yep.
That we needed. So everyone was like, oh, well, that's it. Well, the Britain's done with manual labor now. We can,
How they say, Brits don't want to do those jobs.
Bullshit. They're better paid than most of the jobs that you discussed, including but also I think one of the travesties of the country is that like the education of the next generation is so undervalued, and they're like, the teachers are literally like some of the most important people on this,
and
like,
they're losing
in
like
society.
6,000 a year.
Yeah, they're broke as fuck, and none of them want to do it.
Yeah. And also add to that, people are raising little shits and expecting their teachers to discipline them.
Yeah.
So the kids don't even respect them. I mean, you're right. Like the successive governments haven't invested in British workers. That's totally right. We've gutted British industry and sold it off to the highest bidder. Actual manual skills that you can't just tech away, for example, like plumber, electrician, and all of that have been sorely undervalued, and we haven't invested in them. We've basically destroyed British industry, and I think Ed Miliband will finish it off with his net zero madness. So there's so many overlapping things there, but I think one thing it fundamentally goes back to is our politicians and their incentive structures. Like when people say like, oh, you wouldn't want to deal with a dentist that has no experience, so you want a politician that has experience in politics. Yeah, but there are clear markers for a dentist and what success and failure looks like. You either have fewer cavities or you have a lawsuit if you're a dentist. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like if you're a politician and you fail in public policy, it's like oopsies, and then you usually fail upwards. You go and get another sort of sexy public sector role or like senior civil servant. Do you know what I mean? You can fail upwards so much more easily in politics.
Chris Grayling was the ultimate example of that.
Case in point. Seriously.
Getting fired and then coming back 6 months later with a better job.
Matt Hancock.
Oh man, that man.
Exactly.
How no one has stabbed him. Like, how many people get stabbed in the fucking streets of London and nobody thought to go for Hancock? That's a joke. Not violence.
Yeah, so it's the root cause of the problem is the incentive structures for politicians and what they're ultimately looking at. They can say, oh, we're looking at our constituencies and all of that, but they have like so many protections in space because it's insulated. This is the thing. Keir Starmer could completely wreck this country, which I have no doubt he's going to try his best. In a few years, I mean, he's a millionaire, so in terms of money, he's fine. He's going to retire with a sexy pension.
Do you think he makes it all 5 years?
I'll get back to that. But like, if he has any sense, he'll try and go on the speaking circuit and people will pay him to not speak. He's that unappealing. I don't actually think he is really enjoying the job. Not just because like the whole freebie scandal and basically the reputation of his government was tarnished within 2 months of them coming into power. I think he genuinely doesn't enjoy it. Like, I think when you're so woefully lacking in any political acumen, you can't enjoy it. You can't enjoy every day you open the newspaper and everyone's shitting on you left, right, and center. Like, nobody likes him. Nobody likes his government. Everyone thinks he's an incompetent. The Trump administration is going to clobber him. That deal he's doing with the Chagos Islands, all Trump has to do is pick up the phone, not even to Britain, but to Mauritius, and say, listen, I will end you. And you better take that deal and shred it now, or I will end you. That's all he has to do. And everything literally Keir Starmer is doing is undermined. He can't enjoy it. He just, honestly, it's just, and then he makes his priority making sure people don't get ripped off for ticket sales.
I mean, there's a point to that. It's good. But, like, be nice.
Is that a priority?
No, I mean, honestly, the bigger priority would be like, what the fuck has happened to the British music scene that it costs that much to go? Because artists make zero money from anything else.
Yeah.
All of the plethora of middlemen required for people to have a tour now means that they're all just scraping money from the top. And the artist, despite obscene prices, doesn't actually make as much as you think. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Liam and Noel Gallagher have made a pretty penny from the sales, and I've happily contributed and very excited to see this. Yeah, I'm very excited to go and see them.
That's so great. I've done it too.
Yeah, well, no, it was, to be honest, 150 reunion. Okay, fine, I'll do it. I'll pay it.
Well, I don't think I love anyone that much.
No. I mean, you see, I discovered Oasis when I was 14 and learning to play the guitar. Like, obviously I'd heard some of their songs before, but like truly was like, oh my God, this is an actual great guitar band behind Wonderwall, and then they split up 2 months later. So I never get the opportunity to see them live. So for me, it's quite a cool thing.
Hilarious. I love it.
But yeah, I paid it. I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. Once this, realistically, they're probably going to do just this tour for a while and they'll fall out again. It'll be another 10 years.
They're always falling out. Gosh, they're like women.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure. A tape of them arguing for like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Got into the top 40 during the 90s.
Okay.
People listening to them argue was so popular that it was like a top 40 single.
It was just a bunch of F-bombs.
It was just them arguing about something stupid. I can't even remember. It's called Wibbling Rivalry, and
Wibbling Rivalry.
Yeah. Let's find out where to get to. Consult the Oracle, GPT, see what it says. I was trying to find Keir Starmer's approval ratings as well.
Oh, I think it might be minus. It might be the temperature in Finland. Northern Finland, like minus 100.
I mean, probably not far off. Let's see.
By the way, they're never going to recover.
Yeah, so what do you think? Are they making it 5 years?
Honestly,
he's at minus 45.
He's going to be, first of all, he's going to leave office less popular than Trudeau, which is saying something. He's really, really going to like hate the job. He can't go on holiday. He has no, like, everywhere he looks, it's just like, he's just so bad at this. The country's not getting better. People feel worse off. Like, this is the thing. The Tories are not a headache for the Labour Party at all. It's reform.
Yeah, completely.
Like, reform is the big headache for them. And it's just like, he's going to watch all of his work undone within the first like 48 days of leaving Downing Street. It's just going to be soul crushing. It's going to be horrible. I think he should actually bow out like halfway through and let Angela Rayner do it, because it'll be so much fun to shit on her as well.
Oh, well, she's already being like, oh, Trump sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's like, show like the tiniest just speck of like a little bit of intelligence and decorum as well. It's like obviously
you're looking to Angela Rayner for decorum.
Well, right, okay. People definitely will criticize this, and you know, there's an extent to which, like, you know, you get it. Like, it's fun to have, like, you know, like,
the band, you know, be like, yeah,
bolshy northern woman, and like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like, but no, but like, right, okay. There's something to be like, some like smack talking, like hard as nails northern woman, like image that she wants to portray, right?
Like a Farmland Boudica. I seem to be distracting.
It's really funny. Like, I don't criticize her for being northern and bolshy, right?
Of course, yeah.
Like, because you could still...
That's actually my kind of woman.
Yeah. You could have all those attributes and still show the slightest bit of like, yeah, be like, oh, okay, well, he's been elected president. We may not share the same values, but, you know, we will work together to get the best deal for Britain when dealing with the United States.
Important ally. Yeah.
Like, it's just the comments. Like, this is the other, like, they think that politics is their social media clip.
Yeah, it revolves around them and what they think. Like David Lammy, he's a fascist. And I'm like, he's eating a big slice of humble pie.
Yeah, David Lammy's on board now.
He's going to be gone within the next cabinet shuffle. 100%.
You think so?
Are you joking?
What, for saying that Trump wasn't that bad a guy?
No, because he's being terrible at his job.
Well, they're all terrible at their job.
Yeah, but some
If not disqualified, none of them.
You know, the thing is, on some level, like, here's the thing. I think a little bit of instinct is going to kick in here. Because once you've been painted as shit, also everyone who's on your team is also painted as shit because you don't work by yourself. There's no one in government that inspires confidence. So Keir Starmer is going to be like, okay, well, I need to rebrand. My approval rating is minus 200. So he's really going to like either literally get rid of some people in his cabinet or they completely change. So he's going to make Yvette Cooper like, I don't know, handkerchief secretary and put them in irrelevant roles and really change things up. Because once you have different people in different roles, it changes the energy. I know people won't suddenly feel like, oh, the country's better, but at least on some level, they might think, okay, Keir Starmer must be seeing that this is not working.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like Rachel Reeves, for example, he's saying, oh, she's going to be in government until the next election.
Yeah, he has full confidence in her.
You wait. Look at, you see easily the U-turn on the waspy woman, which is actually...
Yeah, the one, like, I'm pretty sure Rachel Reeves' mum was one of those. Yeah,
But did you not see the picture with Yvette Cooper and the waspy? It's like grinning like the cat that got the cream.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I don't agree with the waspy case because I'm just like going to be like, oh, so you plan your retirement without reading the news? Okay. However, like Labour was brutal. Rachel Reeves was like, there's better things to spend money on, which is right. But you know,
yeah, like 100 years of $3 billion to Ukraine. Yes, Rachel Reeves' mother is a waspy woman. Rachel Reeves has publicly mentioned that her mother was one of the women affected by the changes in the state pension age. So,
mind you, her daughter's a millionaire, so she might have lent her a few quid.
Yeah, possibly. Rachel Reeves a millionaire?
The whole cabinet are.
How did she become a millionaire?
Well, this is the thing no one tells you about, like, being in politics. You make good connections, and also being an economist for how many years? Where? She's not Rachel from accounts. She was an economist at Bank of Scotland and the Bank of England and Bank of Japan. She's minted, apparently. Don't know how she got that money. But you know, look.
Probably the same way Nancy Pelosi.
Or Tulip Siddiq got her money, her flat in King's Cross.
Oh, yeah. Well, she had to resign.
Yeah, the corruption minister got...
But she's done nothing wrong.
Exactly.
But
just to remove the distraction. I'm like, really?
Political career, no. Book deals and this is what Grok is saying. This is how Rachel Reeves got rich. Says political career, salary as an MP. Book deals and publications. She reportedly received 15 grand for a book deal. Jeez. I don't want that.
Was the book printed on Neural?
They have... Reeves and her husband own residential property. 10 grand a year, purportedly in rental income.
A year? Bullshit.
Apparently that's what their financial disclosure statement says. Significant donations and benefits as an MP, investments, non-public investments, and her husband reported income 170k a year.
I bet.
Net worth of 2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Didn't know she was worth that much.
Yeah, they all are. By the way,
there's hope for all of us.
Ed Balls and Yvette Cooper.
Oh no, I bet Ed Balls is.
For me, I think the most egregious is Ed Miliband and Yvette Cooper. That is just have a gander to the resume. It's so egregious because they're both like really well off. But it's like, what have you actually done?
Yeah, but isn't Ed Miliband's money all just the family money?
Well, partly, but like, okay, so I know people within the like kind of the higher ranking Labour. Nobody has time for Ed. Like literally, it was actually incredible that he beat out his brother. No one has time for him. He's the quintessential. I mean, in many ways, he's like a Tory, but just like ideologically a lunatic.
He was almost PM.
But this is the thing. His rise is so egregious. This man has done nothing. You could ask him to change your light bulb and you'd be like, oh, I need to get together a committee and and like run up public finances, trying to just hire a bunch of consultants from Tennessee to tell you how to not waste money. It's incredible. His political rise is absolutely ridiculous.
How did he end up there then?
Oh, he went to study PP at Oxford.
Well, yeah.
A speech writer. And then I think he was also another one that became a SPAD at the age of 27. I think at some point he became a SPAD twice. One for another politician who I don't remember. And I think one for Harriet Harman. And then he just found his way committee, got selected for a safe seat and just climbed that way, even with that voice. Similar. I think Ed Balls was a lawyer, I think. Is Ed Balls a lawyer?
I'm not sure.
West Streeting, typical trade union activist, like a quintessential trade union activist. You notice when he does TV interviews, he doesn't blink. He's like, and I think that, the NHS needs a bit of, he's just, these people are not
well, he was just Gordon Brown's lackey.
Well, precisely. In the real world, these people would be eaten alive. If these people worked in for a private business, they would be absolutely devoured. Seriously, they can only thrive in politics.
It's because Ed Miliband's the some of his net zero decisions, even if you wanted to say, okay, there's a case to be made for cleaner energy because extraction techniques for some oil and gas can be really damaging to the surrounding local environment. You want to not damage, for example, right? So for fracking, okay, there's some evidence that it can cause miniature earthquakes. Yeah. The big concern is the stuff that they're pumping into the ground, getting into the water. Yeah. It gets into the groundwater, and then
by electric vehicles, which lithium batteries, how they. So do you know how lithium battery?
Yes, yeah, I've seen the videos. But there are, right. I'm saying there are cases you can make for some
not very strong ones, but some.
No, but there's and then he just comes along with this, right, okay, so what we're going to do in an increasingly unstable world where we would like to take the prime farmland of Britain.
Mm-hmm. Which is also part of our flood defenses, by the way. No one talks about this. We're such a wet country and we're basically concreting over our flood defenses.
Yeah, people run, and then not just not building reservoirs, not actively destroying them.
We haven't built one since the 90s.
No, we have 30 less than we did in the 90s. I think it's 30, yeah. And people are like, oh, how have we got droughts? And why are the flood defenses so bad? It's where do you think the water used to go? But I've lost my train of thought here.
Yeah, you were trying to make a good case for politics.
Yeah, okay. That there are cases, but then you just okay, we'll just turn this prime farmland into solar farms instead of the solar panels on car parks idea. It was that's nice, shade, car park, use of concrete, that thing. Perhaps maybe reducing some of the temperature raising effect of having it all concrete. That would be a very sensible policy that very few people could oppose. But no, let's take the prime farmland. And then on top of that, let's take billions and billions and estimated 50 plus billion and give it to a technology that nobody knows if it actually works at all.
And it's never been tried at scale, let alone for a country with almost 70 million people.
And even in the cases where it has worked, it's basically barely reducing the amount of carbon based on the amount of energy it's required to build it and then run it. But he's just allowed to spend 50 billion on that
because nothing in his head. But it's like a monkey with symbols. You know that?
Can you imagine that pitch in say I don't know, Apple, right? Yeah. You go to Apple. Oh no, they'd probably go for it. Actually, I've seen some of their.
No, you go to any private company that has to report for what they're doing with money.
Yeah.
But this is the point. There's no consequences for him messing this up. This is the point that I'm making. He can be given a budget of 50 billion quid to do whatever the hell he wants with it, and there's no consequences if he F's it up. That's the problem. I mean, I was doing some research on this. I think last year the average energy price was I think £79 per kilowatt hour. But obviously we subsidize, or I have to get my wording right. But basically we are agreeing to forms of energy, green energy, we're agreeing a price with energy companies, that no matter how, like we will buy the energy that they produce from these renewable sources for a market price that is significantly above the average that we would pay for fossil fuel energies. So basically, we are subsidizing that gap. So this is why our energy prices are artificially raised. So for example, the price guarantee that we would give for like a wind farm to energy companies producing wind-based energy, we would agree like a strike price of like £179 per kilowatt hour. And yet the average price for energy for that year is like 100 or like £80, for example. So we're paying like that much over the odds. And it's like no one is saying this because there are no consequences for that. That's the point. There are no consequences for these people failing.
Yeah, we pay like the highest energy prices in the G7.
In the developed world.
Yeah, the developed world.
That's another thing. Our industry has tanked. Why would anyone want to invest in this country? Like seriously, we have high energy prices. We're overregulated. Our tax system is ludicrous. Okay, compared to like a place like Sudan, yes, people are notionally rich, but our GDP per capita is falling because we have too many people. That foundations of the British economy are not very inspiring, which is why, you know, it's more expensive to borrow, because a lot of banks and investors are saying, actually, we don't think the UK is a safe bet. You're living above your means and you're not fixing the structural problems with your economy. That's what's happening. I mean, it's got to the point where they're even considering getting rid of the triple lock for pensioners, which I actually think Keir Starmer is in favour of doing.
Yeah, it seems like they might do that. And I mean, to be fair, that'd be fine if the state pension wasn't disgustingly low.
Yes, but I think you'll get to the point, people don't realise that actual wages are so low that you've got to the point where, because of the way that triple lock works, you have pensioners actually having more disposable income than working people.
Yeah.
So they're trying to link it to wage rises, like wage increases, so you don't have a situation where working people are actually worse off than pensioners. Like I'm all for, like, you know, obviously protecting pensioners, but the argument I'm making is you have to strike a balance, and the UK's financial situation is so dire. Like I obviously say, like, you know, you have 750,000 people in the UK that don't have to look for a job ever indefinitely for anxiety and depression. If you're asking me what I would rather prioritize, I'd rather prioritize the economic health and safety of our pensioners and strip mainly people under the age of 35 who are not looking for a job and have no obligation to look for a job of that benefit. Like, you can't.
What about people who are like genuinely crippled by things like that? Because I've met people who like suffer from like mental health like issues.
Okay, so here's the top of the queue. Here's the list. People with physical disabilities.
Yeah.
Because I've spoken to a lot of people with physical disabilities that are like, the system has become so clogged that I actually can't physically leave, and yet I'm at the back of the queue because there's so many claimants for disability benefits. So top of the list is people that can under no circumstances physically move because, like,
then the last time that a Conservative government tried to go after that, they went so fucking hard at people who like are clearly unable to work.
Well,
DWP were like, there's like 1,000 documented cases of like them driving people to suicide. Literally. Because they couldn't. They stripped them of their benefits of people who like physically could not work.
Do you know why it took so long? Because they didn't fund the assessment centres. They didn't have enough people on staff to actually properly assess these people. In some cases, you had people at the degrading situation where you have to like drag yourself into the DWP to show them, hello, I'm paralyzed. I mean, this is the thing. The infrastructure around it was so terrible. But the actual primary goal of like, let's prioritize people that cannot under any circumstances work or move. And I used to work in a centre for disabled adults. So like, it's like, this is a no-brainer. So you have that. And then you have people with sort of the kind of mental disabilities that can be managed, but like, that would prevent someone from being able to hold down a job. So like severe, like schizophrenia, bipolar, blah, 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 blah. At the bottom of that list is anything for anxiety or depression. And once I hear those two words, I'm like, that's terrible. However, that shouldn't be in the state's remit to try. And anxiety and depression should be something that should be a community-focused, community-led initiative to try and tackle, as opposed to the government. Because ultimately, I think you have to prioritize. It's really uncomfortable. It's really, really uncomfortable. But I also think the fact that you have a record number of mainly young people. This is the thing. People think of like, you know, all these old people who are claiming benefits that don't want to work. It's mainly young people under the age of 35. Many of them have never held a job before. It's a legacy of the COVID era. Many of them are perfectly healthy and fit to work. That's just no. I'm sorry you are suffering with anxiety or depression, but that goes to the point that communities and families have broken down so much that these people feel like they have no support, and that's terrible.
I think it's also like stock or right. maybe not cured, but significantly reduced, but is white tide.
Yeah.
Take a multivitamin that has like magnesium, zinc, vitamin D.
Vitamin D,
yeah, that's ridiculously important to anxiety disorder. Like I know people who literally just started taking a multivitamin. They're not anxious anymore. Like after like a couple of weeks of taking it, and they're just like, it's gone away.
Well, gut health is linked to mental health, isn't it? So,
and then food to eat, like, don't eat crap. Just literally, that's it. Let's just don't like cook some food yourself. It'll taste better. Trust me.
Yeah,
it does.
Always tastes better as well. I'm like, why am I spending like 40 quid on crap?
Yeah. Or go to Just Eat for like them to only deliver half your fucking order. That's the most period.
Oh, I would get rid of
special place.
I would get rid of. I'll tell you in a sec.
And then. So I would say prescribe them a multivitamin, vitamin D, and give them a free gym membership.
Yeah. Honestly, if Pure Gym triple their price, I'd still pay it. No, the things going to the gym and being physically fit does for my mental health is like, I can't compare it to anything else. On the Just Eat point, I would honestly ban the delivery of hot food anywhere. If you want to eat shit, you go and pick it up yourself. This gig economy of these people. Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eats, ban it all. You want to eat crap, go walk there and get it. If you want to order anything, order gazpacho or sushi that's cold. No more Just Eats. But the thing is, like, seriously, it is a cancer. It's making people less fit. I mean, like, you got to the point where you see on Just Eat, like, oh yeah, we cannot deliver McDonald's to schools. Really? Really? We're at that point where, like, school children are ordering Just Eat.
Indictment of how bad the school lunches are as well.
Well, probably, but it's just a mass, this culture of eating crap from outside that's expensive.
And life. Do you know the other problem with
you save so much money not
Just
doing
Eat, Deliveroo, etc. is like it's a drain on the economy because it's like taking money away from the restaurants. It's destroying the hospitality industry. No one wants to, like, people don't go out to eat as much anymore, and that's partially because they have no money, and then they get a 30% off voucher from Just Eat. But the other thing,
who's driving the Just Eat cars? And
that's what I wanted to say is that, like, and this, London is this, and I think probably a lot of Britain has become this, and probably quite a lot of the developed world. There's this weird, like, scenario where we have like an underclass of immigrants who do the shittiest jobs you can possibly imagine that didn't actually used to exist.
Undocumented as well.
Quite possibly.
It's kind of like Dubai.
And honestly, for it's not only does it like drive wages down for like normal, like, not I say normal people, just like people who've lived in the country longer than,
actual Brits.
Yeah.
Say it, actual Brits.
Yeah, like citizens. It drives the wages down for them. It's creating this, it's creating this underclass of people who take up massive amounts of the housing supply, and like that, again, not a problem if we were building houses, but we're not. If well,
it's a problem because it's like we talk about migration and like that migration has gone through the roof. We have 1 million more people, but like, who are these people? Who are the people replacing? Because it's net, right? So to have so it's higher than 1,000 people moving in. That means like you have to have a certain number of people leaving, and who's replacing them? I'm sorry, like, it's just a lot of these like immigrants from like Nigeria and India and Pakistan that are using these like student loans and like student courses and stuff, student visas as a backdoor into the UK. And because they over like estimated like, I think 1.5 million illegal immigrants in this country. You have these people that can work in the gig economy with no employee protections. And making money, and it suits them just fine, by the way, because they can send money back home, or like they at some point, like if they've been in the UK long enough and they can access public funds, they just live on benefits. Like there's certain communities in this country where you can see like the economic inactivity of their women between the age of 24 to 60, and it's about like over half of the women in those communities. I'm talking like I think it's Bangladesh specifically I'm talking about, but like there are communities or there's sections in this country that live like that, and it's just like chain migration. It's their families, and like, we talk about, like, for example, I don't know why, well, I know why there was a lot of attention on the Pakistani grooming gangs, but like to talk about the Pakistani community as a whole, how it's developed, it's really a lot of that chain migration. You have people that are moving here with like they start studying, and then they bring their wife over, and then they bring their cousins and all of that, and they become these insulated communities. And so like, this is something that suits them just fine. Of course, they'll just do Just Eat for a couple of years and then, find a way to settle within their own communities that they probably already have a foothold here in the UK, and it just goes from there.
But yeah, for me, it's the disturb of it is the fact that like everyone's kind of fine with the fact that we've created this underclass. And like, to me, that's the weird bit, because like
the left is fine with it because we want immigrants to grow the economy. I'm like, treating them like chattel.
But like, it's not growing the economy. You're lying about it growing the economy. You're adding to the GDP, but that doesn't mean you're like growing the economy.
But GDP per capita is going down.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like, it's not actually providing any growth whatsoever. It's making us all poorer, because they think that like importing a number through like adding to GDP is a substitute for economic growth. And even then, like, people were bragging about the IMF saying, and the IMF, the people that the IMF, they love to believe the IMF whenever it says what they want it to say, right? The IMF are a bunch of dicks, right? Like, they are Chicago, like former, like Milton Friedman, like just ideologues. They were part of the troika of the IMF, the ECB, and the World Bank, who literally went into Greece and were like, actually, you elected that government that said that we were going to do it, that you were going to, not have austerity, and actually, no, we're in charge now.
And your pensions, no, not going to do that.
No, and they've done it repeatedly around the world. Like, just come in, actually, no, you don't get the money unless you do all the things that we say. They're a bunch of fucking banksters that like deserve no part in any civilized society.
Just because no one votes them in or out.
They're another one of those fucking groups that we were talking about to begin with. But like, the IMF said that 1.5% growth of Britain's going to be the fastest growing in G7. Yeah. It's like 1.5%.
A few million people from the developed world.
1.5%. That, fuck you. Like, inflation's like inflation. What they say is inflation. I mean, the way they manipulate the CPI is a different question. But like, it's at what, 2.5%, 3%? Okay, okay, even say that, right? That means we're still, like, the economy is shrinking in real terms.
Things are still getting more expensive. I mean, the whole thing is a scam. It's a scam.
We're fucked.
Yeah, we're screwed. What are we going to do now? We're just going to have to meet.
No, but like,
well, everyone I know has left.
Really?
Yeah, most people that I know.
See, and the UK is held up by, and I think this is literally the whole new thing holding it together, is London as a cultural, like, city that people still have like affection for, and there's still a lot of cool landmarks, and there's the financial sector as well.
But that's
I don't. Yeah, but I mean, it's another fucking drain on the economy. But we'll not go there today. It's a resource curse, the finance sector, because we have to let them away with everything
because we have no other production.
Yeah, which is a horrendous situation to be in. But I would rather lose them all, but then we lose all the tax bill, or at least what they pay. But like, the question is, what comes down the end of this? Like, is Nigel Farage PM in 2029?
I think there's a very real possibility. I mean, I think there are loads of things that have to happen that happen. But I'm also skeptical. I'm in saying that Nigel Farage is the answer.
I don't think he's the answer.
But I just think he's asking the right questions.
Yeah. That's
I don't think anyone is the answer, but I think the best indication is asking the right questions. I've written off the Tories. I wrote them up a long time ago. Don't lie at me. I can just hope this. I think, obviously, Labour is the Dems. Do we even know what they stand for?
They're gone. They're irrelevant. They're as irrelevant as the fucking Tories these days.
I don't have much hope, and I'll be honest, I'm looking for a way to feed this country. So I think, on a human level, I fundamentally can talk about the fundamental that I'm at the you are in stop. Just think what kind of question you are, what's your thoughts being put themselves. And I'm really thinking fundamentally about community values. We live in a country now where, like, we're not even, like, we're seeing the scourge of night crime in Gulf City, Black London, the chef. We're not even allowed to ask what kinds of homes are producing the types of young people that think to accept real art, stabbing, parents, or whatever. And I think once you get to a point in society where you can ask questions about, like, protecting our children, what kind of home they're growing up in, or like, but parents are trying their best, not waking up to reality. I'm like, just on a level, on the level that I want to become carrying, that's very, I don't think I can mount up economic saying, okay. I think, I'm like, it's the same, like everyone that I know, every young person that I know that's productive, like that, or is in the process of the will wants to buy India, or I don't get it. Maybe Dubai in the US, I don't get Dubai. I love Canadians leaving as well, but like maybe Dubai in the US, and I don't blame them. Like my friends have literally, I get the Dubai thing. Like I think you can stomach the whole plasticity of it for 50 years when you could have that pot of money to get it in. They give you option. I get.
I don't like the fake aspect of it. I'm not in the
underclass.
There's the underclass.
Someone's job by living.
Yeah, but it's not just that for me. It's and I mean, but when I say fake, I don't mean the fact that it's just like it used to be a hut in a desert and it's now, just that's like, yeah, I mean, fair enough. Go for it, lads. But like the thing that I don't like the fakeness of it is that like alcohol is illegal, but
like you just like,
but no, that's not if you, yeah, exactly. Or the, homosexuality, they'll stone you and throw you up a building. But if you're the right person.
Oh yeah.
I don't like that. It's like I like when a society is straight up about this shit. I don't like the fake, like hidden.
Well, but the thing is, every society does it. Like, my biggest gripe is for me to start to lecture countries about. I have no problem with like the Emirates or Saudi Arabia being what they are.
No, I mean, go for it.
But I take offense when our politicians who are fundamentally useless are not looking so pushes for. They're looking to lecture Qatar about their gay rights over the world.
Oh well, no, they're only looking to lecture them until they get free tickets.
Well, no, or the fact that the Qataris are like, yeah, we're going to build gas storage units for you. Oh yes, please come. We'll turn a blind eye. Listen, the reality is everyone's got shit their back pockets. Just solve your problems. Remove the speck from your eye and the lobe from your eye before you try and remove the speck in your naked eye. That's it. Like, of course, there are loads of things that I don't like. I don't like human rights abuses and all of that. But I'm just like, as a Brit, that's not like this.
I mean, politicians would rather lecture us about, it's the best one. They'd rather lecture us about like slavery from 250 years ago rather than say, maybe we shouldn't be best friends with the states that are still having slaves,
Or maybe the fact that there are more slaves now than there were back there.
That's also population growth. I mean, percentage-wise, it's definitely less than there used to be. But
it's just but they're like, and the thing is, you can actually do something about it now.
Yeah, you could.
There are more of them now, and you can actually do something about it now. You're literally, but I'm sorry, these immigrants are being importing up in state. Like, this is what I don't understand. I'm like, they're not coming here to have a great life. Some of them are like three sharing a room, studying, doing this gig economy. Like, that's inhumane.
Yeah, that's what I mean about the underclass. Like, that's what I mean. I don't feel comfortable with like saying that that's fine. Because the idea is that like you want to build a prosperous society where like people can feel safe and work hard. Or like go to school, work hard, or whatever you end up doing, like whether it's a plumber or a nuclear physicist, start a family if you so choose, but ideally that's what you want.
Build a house.
Yeah, build a house and like have an enjoyable life. Like that used to be like what we aimed for, and now it seems like
your own home.
Yeah.
Now what we get to import slaves, but don't worry. Yes.
Yeah. Where someone always steals something or they forget something or it's cold or the last 4 orders that I have made on Just Eat, there's been something missing, including one, right, where we ordered sushi.
Yeah.
Okay. And
just get a raw fish.
There was a sushi platter and something else. And the delivery person stole the sushi platter. And we called the restaurant and they were like, no, we definitely put it in there. So the guy definitely took it. And the guy from the restaurant was like, if you can come down here, I will give you a fresh one. So he was not screwing with me. Like,
but that's probably starving and living in a flat with 5 to 1.
Yeah, I feel for him for that.
I mean, it sucks for you.
Yeah, I was hungry. And I'm sure he was too.
Yeah.
But like, why do we have to accept a society where he gets paid so badly that he has to steal the food from the people he's delivering to?
And I think like this is maybe a secondary point, but we don't talk about how it undermines community and social cohesion. We don't know each other. People don't know their neighbors 3 doors down. We don't care about each other. We don't share the same values. This is why we can't ask how people are raising their kids. And when they expose those kids to our streets, They start stabbing other people's kids, for example. Like, we just don't know or care about each other. The rate of change has been so rapid that actually what it means to be British and values and living together and all of that has just died. It's just completely died. And like, you're racist if you apparently talk about it. And it's like, you can't go to India and say, oh yeah, you can't go to India and live the way that we've allowed a lot of communities to live in this country and be like, oh, but you're racist for telling us about it. But Indians will just tell you, fuck right off. Well, seriously, it's like the whole grooming gang scandal thing. I think it's like, for me, it just blows my mind. It's like, oh, we couldn't talk about it because we were scared of being accused of racist. And I was like, you do realize the penalty for rape in Pakistan is life imprisonment or death. Trust me, they're not going to say we're not going to deport you because they might be mean to you when you go home. They will kill you. If you had a bunch of white working class, like white guys from South Shields and Mead, raping a bunch of Pakistani girls in Lahore, they'll behead you. Rightly so. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, they literally would.
Literally, like that's a cancer. It's honestly, it's incredible.
I don't understand why Keir Starmer can't just be like, because everyone knows the government, like, inquiries are fucking bullshit anyway, right?
Oh, yeah.
Why can't he just say, yep, we'll have an inquiry, fine?
Oh, because they'll be clear. It will go back to the CPS and a lot of problems. I mean, people are saying like he did a lot when he came, trying to change the threshold, victims and all of that. But like the buck still stopped with him on some level.
So then have the report deliver in 5 years. Then you're done. You're right.
I mean, true.
Like, I feel like if you were a smart political operator, there'd be a way to make an inquiry, to say we're definitely going to have an inquiry, and then just make it take forever. Do you know what I mean?
What's happening with the COVID thing? It's like 2026. I'm like, what was COVID again?
Yeah, COVID. Anthony Fauci. Did you see, by the way? Not Donald Trump. Anthony Fauci was pardoned.
Yeah.
Preemptively by Joe Biden.
But I thought he did nothing wrong. How does that work? How do you get to pardon? Like, because only Trump can be like, fuck off.
Pardon. That's the way it works.
So, like, he can kill someone in a car crash and he did not.
Oh, no. For crimes committed from, like, whatever period up to now. He just pardoned. That's what he did for his family. He pardoned his entire family for all crimes committed against the United States between 2014 up to present.
Okay, so what if they found out that he raped someone? No, sorry, not him. Like, let's say they found out Anthony Fauci like 10 years ago raped Joe.
I'd have to check the exact terms of this pardon, but potentially it might say something to do with, like, in the capacity of director of the NIH or something. Let's look it up. Let's see what Fauci's pardon was. But the idea, like, I have clips from people like saying that, you know, Biden, including Joe Biden, being like, oh, I think, you know, Trump is going to preemptively pardon his family. Like, that's just a dictator move. And then Trump didn't do that. And like, he's literally doing it. But before I look up Fauci's thing, I was going to look up for you that the in 1961, the non-white population of London was 2.3%. In 1971, the white population of Greater London, this is just what's coming up, it was 86.2%, right? And that is like down to about 30. And I make absolutely zero comment on whether that's good or bad. It is just a huge change.
It's so
and
radical.
People wonder why people over the age of 50 are like, well, it wasn't like this when I was a kid, because we walk around thinking that, like, the London that we exist in, the multicultural, like, melting pot that it is, and that has many positive, you know, there's many positive things to say about that. You know, you get to meet people from all different cultures of the world. You get, like, all the different foods that you get to try. There's, like,
yeah, I mean, like, there's some benefits, but, like, to an extent, there has to be, like, consent.
Oh, of course. But my point is that, like, people saying, you know, that it's a big change, or it wasn't like this, and we walk around because we think that that's what it was always like. And it wasn't. We
don't understand previous generations, and this is why I feel you brushed to malign them as, like, ignorant or racist or whatever. I can't believe, like, how, like, but that old. I'm like, yeah, that's busted in life, but a lot.
Oh,
it's a lot more than that.
I heard a great quote this week. It's that traditions solve a problem that we no longer understand exists.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We have the luxury of not knowing the problem.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things that, like, that were that's just how things are done. That was the tradition, and that we've, like, actively attempted to reject loads of these things, and then it slowly, as you reject them, becomes clear. So it's like, oh, actually, hang on, that was kind of solving a problem that we didn't know
we had. Yeah, exactly. Like, get married before you have a kid. Well, I mean, it was like 1 in 3 kids in the UK now are growing up in single parent homes. It's rude.
Yeah, and there's a lot of data to show even if the children are in a home where the parents are together, but when they're married, there's like genuine benefits to the kid. Even if the parents are together and don't split up, having them married. It's
because it looks at the types of couples that get married, they tend to be more traditionally conservative, religious, all of that. So their values, I think it's more indicative of the values that those parents have as opposed to the fact that they just married over just a piece of paper. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like the attitudes towards community and family building and all of that, which again, like matters. We used to be able to agree on all of this, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the biggest proponents for social conservatism were actually people of the left wing back in the 1960s and 70s, because they were the people that mostly benefited from it. The society breaking down, these single parent households, these people being broke and like living apart and all of that, it's mainly affecting working class people. It's tearing up the fabric of society on that strata of society. Like wealthy people are still getting married at basically the same rate they always have been. Yeah. And getting divorced at basically the same rate, or like maybe slightly higher, but nowhere near as much as like, average working people. So, yeah.
So the scope of Anthony Fauci's pardon is the pardon covers any potential federal offences related to Fauci's actions during his tenure, particularly concerning his role in the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. It does not cover any future crimes or acts committed after the pardon was issued. A presidential pardon grants forgiveness to offences committed against the United States, effectively removing any federal legal consequences for the actions in question. So it's basically anything he did whilst he was director of the NIH.
I'm sure you can overturn a presidential pardon, but you can enact legislation that allows you to do that. Is it in the Constitution? Is there a constitutional right to the federal pardon?
That's a good question.
If it's not, then you can just get because this is an outrage. I mean, but it depends how much venom there is against Fauci. I mean, listen, I can tell you that RFK has plenty of venom to go around.
Yeah. I don't think it's a good idea to overturn a pardon. I think that sets an unbelievably bad precedent.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but like there's this thing on Twitter where it's like only people that you have been mentioned can like respond to.
Oh yeah, there's loads of people tweeting about Trump today, just absolute rubbish. Like there's many things you could criticize about the man. I'm not particularly sure his meme coin launch was a very smart or it's definitely a very legally dubious move.
I'm sure he made money off it.
I'm sure he's made money off it, but like it becomes a way for people to bribe him.
Oh, okay.
You think, yeah, a friend pointed this out to me. He's like, yeah, so what do you want to do when you want to get influence with Trump? What did they used to do? Oh, we'll build you a hotel. Well, we'll give some permits for a hotel, and that'll probably have been cut off now. But
really,
now, what do you say? Tell you what, we'll buy some Trump coin. There's no real. It's a very it's a legal, very grey area. Yeah. So I feel like that's what it may be used for. But
slimy. Well, I think the reason why Trump has become successful in politics is because he understands the sliminess of
100%. You don't remember that clip when Hillary Clinton was like, he uses all the tax codes, dodge the tax, and he was like, yeah, of course I do. I'm smart, and so do all of your donors.
Yeah, change them. If you don't like them, change it for your donors.
Courts have traditionally considered presidential pardons to be final acts not subject to judicial review under most circumstances. Legal scholars argue that once a pardon is complete, it cannot be overturned by the courts or Congress. This view is based on the principle that the pardon power is plenary, meaning that it's a full and exclusive executive authority. So I feel like overturning a pardon would be very difficult.
I think it's become very gross.
It has. The number of pardons that Biden has issued. Hang on.
I think that's one of those powers that I'm just like,
I don't know. There's areas in which I think it like has some merit. Like, okay, what if Trump goes in and decides Ross Ulbricht, Assange, Snowden?
Well, like, the thing is like, no, I don't think any one person should have that kind of power to make someone not like accountable to the law. That's what I have a problem. Like, it doesn't matter what, like, you think, even if it's a good case, and traditionally they've tried to use it for cases that they think are good cases, but it's like, okay, but we're all subject to the law for a reason. We all pay taxes. It's like pardoning someone for not paying their taxes. Has that ever happened?
But like, right, okay, for example, if Trump was to if Congress was to pass or to revoke the Espionage Act, right, the things under which Snowden and Assange would be charged, right? If they were to revoke that, they would still be liable for those crimes because they were crimes during the time that was committed.
And then if you revoke it, you should change the law that anyone convicted before this law was revoked is not criminally liable. That just requires a change in legislation. Do you know what I mean?
Can you do that?
Yeah, of course you can.
But does that work? Like, in the United Kingdom, that might work. Well, Parliament is sovereign, yeah.
Yeah, but like, the president just has to assent to that. But like, that's one man, and he obviously has political motivation for another.
Joe Biden has so far reportedly, we should wrap up in a sec here. Just the final point. Barack Obama granted 1,927 acts of clemency, including pardons.
Does he even know many people?
Probably not. Trump issued 237, apparently, from 2017 to 2021.
Okay.
George Bush, 200. Bill Clinton, 459. I wonder how many of them were Clinton body count related. And
one for Buddy Epstein.
Joe Biden has issued 8,064 pardons. Wow. Anyway, lovely place to wrap up. Esther, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
We just ranted about how much we hate
the country. Yeah, that's great. People,
Starmer and all the Davos law, and
they're all dickheads. They should, at least some of them, be in jail.
Oh yeah, there's so many people that need to be in prison for messing up countries. There's so many people. Like, this is the thing. Like, we would drag someone like Charles Taylor in front of the Hague, but it's like you literally.
It should be like Iceland, jail the bankers.
Literally, like one person went to prison over the financial crash.
Yeah, disgraceful. Anyway,
everything sucks.
I will put your links in the description, Twitter, stuff on the Express or whatever I can find. And yeah, thanks very much.
When is this going out? Tomorrow?
Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday. Okay, got it. Everything is on.
Hey, listeners, real quick. Do you ever find yourself sitting watching the stock market like this? Well, now you could instead be ordering my book like this. It's the story of GameStop. You can purchase it with a hoodie, with acknowledgements, or just with the early backers edition. It's all about the GameStop story. It's the real story, not just what you've seen on films. It's exactly what has happened over the last 3.5 years. And with DFE back, I'm finally able to draw a conclusion to my book. Please pre-order it. It really helps me out. And you will get it eventually, I promise. Hopefully this year.